Anyway, we went to Louisville, or we didn't go to Louisville. We went with Louisville
Yes,
You
we
went
did.
with Louisville to the
to the Bahamas.
Bahamas. How was the
Yeah.
trip?
Go ahead, Rob.
It was awesome. I was incredibly impressed with Louisville. Like, I don't think I could have been more impressed with how good they are. Like, that is a top 15, top 20-ish kind of a team. And I think that there's an argument to be made that they are Duke's biggest challenger in the ACC this season. I think North Carolina's in that conversation. I think your boys down at Clemson are in that conversation.
Virginia.
I think Virginia, you and RC with this Virginia thing, like, you're probably going to be right. I got to see it before like I buy all the way in, but you're probably going to be right. But Louisville's going to be damn good, man. They're like 11 deep. Chucky Hepburn is an absolute dog defensively. Cason Pryor is a menace. The kid from Charleston, I am blanking on his name in the moment.
James
Brain
Scott.
Smith.
James Scott.
Yep.
James Scott has a chance to be a pro. I love Javon Had. Like, I just love what they've built. I love Pat Kelsey's energy, and maybe I'm just like buying into the bandwagon fanda. My single biggest takeaway though is that Damon Oglesby, like, I've never seen somebody less afraid of a moment than this dude. Like, we were going out to dinner the first night we're down there, right? It's me, my wife, T.O., his wife, and both of his kids. And Deontay Wilder walks by. What's his name? T.O.
You got it right. That's right.
No, but the nickname is the Bronze Bomber,
The
right?
Bronze Bomber.
The Bronze
The
Bomber.
hardest hitting right hand ever.
So he walks by, and like me, my wife, T.O.'s wife are sitting there like I don't know. T.O.'s like, "Oh my God, did you see who that was?" And we're like, "I don't know, who was that?" He's like, "That's Deontay Wilder." And I had to Google him for a second to figure out who he was and remember who he was. But then we're like, "Wow, that's incredible." And they're like, "Should we go say hello?" And Dave's like, "Don't worry, I got this." Boom. Walks right over, shakes the dude hand, gets a picture with him. Like, that's the heavyweight champion of the world right there. And your
That's
son
what
is
I'm
just
talking
walking
about.
over. And then at practice the next day, he walks in like he owns the place.
Like he
He
owns
walks
the
in,
joint.
yeah. He walks in,
Grabbed
shaking
a
hands with
ball.
grabbed a ball. Like, they're in the middle of shoot around. He just grabbed a ball, go out there. Like, he's part of the team. I was like, what is it? Who is this kid? uh, it made me think that like young T.O. Fanta was an
He's his
absolute
father's
menace.
son.
Yes.
Yeah, he's his father's son. I mean, let's make no mistake about it. All you have to do is see Damon Oglesby to know who his dad is. This kid wants to go out and bury everybody.
Dude, he
He's
was ready.
yeah, he's always ready.
And
So
he played basketball with Johnny Kelsey, Pat's kid, who
Yep.
Louisville fans are going to love.
yep.
Yeah, they went out there and played. Damon hit a couple shots, got a scholarship offer. So still waiting on a Clemson offer, but we got a Louisville one.
There you go.
Well, this all ties together because I had the basketball tournament in Louisville, and it was one of the more enjoyable weeks of the entire year, just spending time with the people there and going to the restaurants locally, and all the restaurants. You just stop at the bar and they're all talking Louisville basketball.
Yep.
That's all they care about. That's all they eat, breathe, sleep. And so it was just refreshing to be sitting there in July and hearing people say, we're so starved. We're so starved to win. And this team, as you just brought up, is equipped to win and win now, make the NCAA tournament. Yeah,
win some games.
Fans, believe it. Win a lot of games. Terrence Edwards has NCAA tournament experience, and without him, James Madison doesn't do what they do. To have a reinforcement like a Rain Smith, Chucky Hepburn, it was very clear out at the TBT when talking with Louisville people and on the staff, they're like, look, we thought Chucky Hepburn was good. And Terrence, I'm sure you have thoughts on this, but they're like, we've learned entirely new things about him in our system. Sometimes you learn something about a player because they're playing under a new staff and playing in a new style. And let's face it, Pat Kelsey and Greg Gard are very, very different in how they want to play offense.
Yeah, certainly are. And that floor opening up for him really changed what his capabilities, what he can do. His foot's on the gas pedal from the second that ball's inbound. And Rob will vouch for this. During those games, you could tell it's an older team, and they recruited really well because they've figured out, veteran players who've won before, who've played for guys that coach really well. I mean, you look up and down that roster, Chucky Hepburn of Wisconsin. Greg's a great coach up there. Javon Hadley played for Tad Boyle at Colorado. Terrific coach. Kason Pryor, Abdul Rahim down at South Florida. Like, these are guys that have been coached. They got to the next best play so quickly. And I know that sounds very, I don't know what it's a little too much. It's a little wordy, the next best play, but it was amazing. There were a couple of possessions, Rob, and you'll vouch, like the team tried to switch something up on them and they just fixed it. I mean, right away. They had so many assists and they moved the ball so well and so unselfishly. It was amazing to watch. And you throw in with some young talent and James Scott, who he's got a chance. He's got a chance. Do I think he's a lottery pick? Not right now, but he's got a chance to be one later.
And Rubes does too. Like, we didn't talk about him enough.
Well, he was really good. And awesome. He's the only freshman on the team. And, 13 new scholarships, 11 of which are going to play this year. They're going to have some, they're going to have some continuity with some guys come back next year. But man, what a fun time. I had a great time. I ate good. I slept good. My kids had a ball, and it was a lot of fun to watch some basketball. And it kind of screwed me up, gentlemen, because I usually get into basketball mode about right now, right after Labor Day, if I know when Labor Day is. Like, I usually get into basketball mode about right now. I've been in basketball mode since we left, which is a gift and a curse, because like it fired me up just enough to hope these things keep going. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. The biggest takeaway I had overall was how quickly that staff was able to get that group of kids. And it's not kids, like I think there's like 4 fifth-year seniors, a 6-year senior on that roster. Noah Waterman is actually older than Fanta. And then a bunch of like I think there's 3 underclassmen on the entire roster that are going to play. Getting them to buy in, Fanta, was like this. I was so incredibly impressed with how quickly that happened.
Well, Pat is elite at getting his kids to buy in. If you can't buy in for that guy, you're not going to buy in for anybody. So Pat Kelsey is going to be able to do that consistently. The other thing is, it's Louisville. And this is why we have been as harsh on Louisville as we have been recently. Back in December, I went off on the Kenny Payne era on our network, and the next day had a couple of people in the college basketball world that said that was a little bit harsh. And it
wasn't harsh enough. I don't even remember what you said. It doesn't matter what you said. It wasn't harsh enough.
And you know what, guys? The fact is, Louisville basketball hasn't been Louisville basketball in recent years. It's been an embarrassment to that namesake. And the fans deserve better. And frankly, college basketball deserves better. When Louisville's on, it's better for the sport. So for me, I'm not surprised by the kids that he brought with him from Charleston. T.O., we've seen some of those kids play, and they play hard. They're high major level ready players. They're not going to get fazed by anybody. Chucky Hepburn was looking for a new destination. Terrence Edwards was looking to level up to a high major. And Noah Waterman, Javon Hadley, they've got depth. They've got numbers. So I think I agree with you on the depth piece, Rob. I think that they've got more numbers than I thought they would have coming into this season. Now I just want to see it all come to fruition. And I think, what I do think the overarching takeaway here is the ACC got better when Pat Kelsey got hired by Louisville, and the ACC will be better. There's a lot that happened in the offseason that signals the ACC is going to be improved and is going to have more of a marquee in-season headline-worthy name than it's had in the past couple of years. Not saying the NCAA tournament success has not happened, but I do believe that, because it did this past year, but I do believe that this league evolved in this past offseason, and we're going to see some real depth. I like Wake Forest. I like Tyler Johnson. I like that Hunter Salas and Efton Reed are back. I think Steve Forbes. Think about this. Wake Forest hasn't made the tournament in 8 years going into 2025. It's time for that drought. It's time for that drought to end. No time like the present. And that's what I get a lot of, Rob, in the ACC. There's no time like the present for many of these programs. Virginia, it's time to get off the mat. Louisville, it's time to get off the mat. Sometimes something's got to give in a league, and I think we're going to see that this year.
Yeah, you know what? I can't wait. And I gave you guys a homework assignment to come up with your favorite storyline outside of the obvious storylines from one of them. I think for me, it is Louisville being back, Kentucky having this new
state of basketball
energy. The state of basketball in the state of Kentucky. And you combine all that with the fact that now Kentucky's in-league rival Arkansas is kind of in the same situation where you have these three fan bases that are incredibly passionate about the sport of college basketball with completely new rosters and new coaches and new staffs, and how that is all going to kind of come together. You know, Vanda, we saw it when we did KSR, right? With the callers that we had that were arguing about whether or not John Calipari is going to get a round of applause when he comes back to Rupp Arena this year, right?
He needs a round of applause. He needs one. Do we realize? Let's just think back to when he took that job. They needed it. They needed an injection of energy in anything that lasts 10 years, guys. In college hoops.
Well, I'll say this. This year, no, you boo the hell out of him when he walks in that door because he left you for your league rival. That is what you do as a fan. In 5 years, you got to put him on the wall of honor or whatever it is, the ring of honor. Like he's a legendary coach at Kentucky, and you can celebrate that once you get past the fact that he left for a rival and brought a bunch of his players. Does that make sense? Like
it was the weirdest firing / resignation / I'm leaving. Like 3 days, not 3 days before he took that job, Kentucky fans were ready to fire him. He leaves, and then they feel jaded. What? Like Kentucky fans are not the victim. Like you're not a victim. You're not a victim. Yeah, this was a very mutual thing, and we all know it. But now, if you want to play
that ride was incredible, man. Like it went from before the season's like, we're ready to get him out of here. Like we can't deal with these like early tournament losses anymore. To, oh my God, Coach Cal's the greatest. He's gonna be here forever. I love our freshman. Reed Shepherd's awesome. Rob Dillingham is awesome. To get this guy out of here, we got to burn it all down. To he betrayed us by leaving when we wanted him to leave.
Well,
hey, look, man, that is college sports fandom for you right there. And I promise you, Clemson fans for football, probably the same way. Oof. UConn fans for basketball, probably the same way, right? Fanta, Seton Hall fans, I don't know if they're
Oh, no. Make no mistake about it. There's a sector, they might not be the biggest fan base, but I can tell you right now, Joe and Clark, New Jersey, look up the X account, Joe and Clark, during Seton Hall basketball season. I mean, at the under-8 timeout, I think Kevin Willard got fired 78 times by Joe and Clark, and he produced NCAA tournament after NCAA tournament. So, you know what? You're going to get that. Look at this Sunday if you want overreactions. The winning teams in NFL Week 1, you feel like you're planning the parade. If you lose the game, fire everyone. So it's just, but in college sports, you see a passion like no other. And here's the thing: it's most of the time on the coach and firing the coach, because people just aren't wired to rip apart 18 to 22-year-old kids. Now with NIL payments, that's going to happen more frequently than it has. But coaches are the ones who pay the price.